We have to work together. I think machine just running by machine will not be successful, and a human without a machine, without an AI, will probably not in every case successful.
Everyone seems to be talking about AI replacing marketers. What's your take on that? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Ecommerce Coffee Break podcast. AI is everywhere right now. Every week there's a new tool promising to automate your marketing, to run your campaigns better than a human ever could. But is that really what's happening? Or do the best results come from humans and AI working together? To help us answer that, I'm joined by Stefanie Richter. She's the CEO and co-founder of Adspert, an AI-powered PPC platform that helps e-commerce brands optimize their advertising across marketplaces like Amazon, Walmart, and eBay. Stefanie, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Let's jump right into it. Everyone seems to be talking about AI replacing marketers. What's your take on that?
I think every generation is afraid of getting replaced by something. Now it's an AI. I think, yes, the world is changing. I, for instance, start my career not on a computer, on the, I don't know what is this, something before computer where we wrote papers. Now I'm working every day on a computer, and probably when I'm ending my life, I'm not sure if I'm using still a keyboard. So everything is always in a dynamic situation. And I think it's very important that we all always be looking up what is coming next, what I'm interested in. Do I want to go that journey? Do I want to go in a different way? So right now it's AI. It makes my life definitely easier, but sometimes also more complicated because I get so faster answer and everything. So I have to keep up with the machine. So machine is sometimes drive me nuts.
Very good point there. Now, obviously, we are talking about e-commerce. We will talk about marketing and everything that comes together. With the podcast in the last 3 years, AI is a constant topic. We're talking about AI all the time. Now, obviously, people are getting a little bit tired about this. And I think the human factor is actually very important. AI can't do everything. So we want to dive a little bit more into this. Are humans still beat AI when it comes to advertising, or has AI completely taken over?
I think we have to work together. I think machine just running by machine will not be successful, and a human without a machine, without an AI, will probably not in every case successful. Maybe there are really small topics where just a human can do everything by themselves and be successful. I would say human and machine or an AI has to work together, and then they are very successful. Give an example in my field of PPC and bidding. Our algorithm came original from the 17th, so from the financial markets. That is where I set up my first company into it. So we did optimization for banks, stock markets with algorithm from the 17th. And for us, the most important thing was the machine was so slow that if we need a forecast for an hour, we have to wait several days. So, but nevertheless, you want to work with a machine, with an AI, and we were using AI for a long time. Then we moved into digital marketing, advertising. So we use AI for a really long time. But where we need humans, and still that was 20 years ago, is for making decisions, strategic decision, transfer ideas into a language that an AI can produce the optimal work. When it comes to PPC on my end, for instance, is I need somebody in front of a computer to give the AI the right instruction. Everybody's now calling it prompt. In the past, it was a strategy into the right ACOS terms on the right ROAS. You have to make a decision on which product I want to have a certain goal, and that is a strategy. So it's a translation from a strategy that a machine can use it.
Mm-hmm. That's a very good explanation. And we want to dive a little bit more in Amazon next. When it comes to Amazon, or when we talk about AI, there's a lot of data. And I think that's where AI really helps. All these data points that you need to have to optimize your marketing, to optimize your PPC campaigns comes together with Amazon. But you say the human gives the strategy. How does that work together?
So the right job for the human is to know what should the machine doing to be successful. For instance, when we talk about Amazon, we have knowledge about let's give an example. On the third Tuesday in the month at 2 p.m., a woman interested in financial products, searching for a cab for her partner. So that is all small data points. And for that specific case, you need a specific bit just for 2 p.m. on a third Tuesday in the month. And a lot of more data is coming. So she's requesting it from a mobile phone, from which country, somebody is searching for a product. And all these data points has to similarity make a decision. But the human, on the other hand, has to define how much can I afford for that advertising. Can I afford 100 euros? Can I afford 20% of my revenues? There is a lot of decision-making process to give to the machine that the machine is at the end bringing it into a perfect result. When I try to make it as a simple explanation, I say, imagine you entering a car and you have to make a decision where you would like to drive. Is it to New York, or is it just to Manhattan, or is it to, I don't know, other side of the US? So you have to make a decision. And that is what the human has to be. But then in which car maybe, or what size of a motor, that has to define by a machine.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you have a solution that helps sellers with their PPC campaign management. I want to dive a little bit into on that, how that looks in a day-to-day business. Obviously, there might be a lot of SKUs, there might be a lot of products in a store, and every product might have a different strategy for a campaign day. Walk me through a typical day of someone working with your system.
So typically they checking results, and if they're happy with the results, everything is fine. Sometimes they're going into our software and just giving a new strategy goal, and then the machine is adapting. If they're new to our software, then they are more joining on a really every second, third day, joining the software, just checking is everything fine. But if they're working long term with Adspert, they maybe come once a week, every 2 weeks, if they're not changing strategies, or if everything is on a day by day and no new products coming in. So that is, I think, an advantage of our software, because we have an AI software. That means you don't have to changing every day the tires, putting gas into it, changing oil. That you have to do if you have a rule-based system, because then you have to react on every new data point. But with an AI, you give the strategy, you give a goal, and the machine is responsible to delivering to that goal. So that's why it is at a certain point, if you're just running your normal business, not necessary to every day joining Adspert, but yeah.
Okay. Now that helps obviously a lot, because running campaigns and managing them manually, and I'm doing this for a very long time, can be a little bit annoying and frustrating. Now, obviously, you want to have the AI reporting back to you if something does not work within the limits. What kind of metrics or KPIs or reports does your system provide?
So we have standards reporting, of course, of the basic or of the typical KPIs like conversion rate, click rate, ACOS, ROAS, cost limits. But we have also an individual system. It's an individual alert system where people can set up their individual KPIs they're interested, also their limits. If you overstep or below a certain percentage or a certain number, they can define that by themselves, or give me every Monday all these steps. And if they are not in this range, I would like to get an alert. So it's quite individual. We give up, to be honest, to develop for everybody the individual and dashboard where everybody can find everybody, because then it's so overwhelming and you steer it and saying, oh my God, no, that's too complicated. I don't want to use that software. But also now with AI and with Claude, for instance, or ChatGPT, you can build your individual alerts. You can build individual dashboards. It's so much easier. I'm not sure if somebody heard an MCP, so you can connect and then build everything from scratch. I'm not even sure in the future if there even big dashboards needed anymore. Maybe some of us remember when Google came out, and before Google, you have to go through Yahoo to a lot of, I'm interested in that. Then I go to the next part of it. You're going down a tree. And then Google start just with one line and you enter what you are interested in. I guess that is coming with an AI in the future as well. You're just entering by voice what you're interested in, and then you become your specific information back.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing that you mentioned there, and I'm totally with you. I'm also working with MCPs now, and I think everyone out there who is in e-commerce for a while and is working with different apps and solutions has 20 different dashboards to manage and is probably tired of it. And I think you're completely on point there that there is a better way coming, and that might be MCP or any kind of solution that comes from there. Now, our listeners obviously know that AI usually needs a little bit of training time to get all the data together. How does that look with your system?
It's the same here at Adspert. So what we typically say, so we offer a 30 days free trial, or it depends on the size of a company, a very low budget, 2 months paid trial. And at the beginning, the first 2 weeks, we always call that training time. So we don't recommend a performance goal in that time period. We define a cost goal based on the historical values and suggesting these kind of goals that the algorithm can learn, because we building different data than what we get from Amazon. From Amazon, you get a lot of data, but we build trainings data just for Adspert. As I mentioned a few minutes before, the third Tuesday of a month, for instance, has different data than if you're collecting every Tuesday. So we combining data from Amazon, and that is our learning curve. And it depends if you have a lot of data, your learning time is shorter. If you have less data, then you need a longer time. What a lot of people not considering when they're checking their Amazon account, you have a few keywords, a few ASINs where you get a lot of data. That's your most promising keywords. But then you have a long tail of elements where you have not so much data. And there you are losing your money, because you cannot really judge what is the best decision for these elements. And for these elements, you need a little bit longer training data. But what you also need is the right combination between data. So you need to find patterns in data, because you cannot spend for every single item, let's say 20 cents, and collect 5 clicks. Imagine you have thousands of keywords or thousands of products. You are losing money and cannot make any further decision, because you just collected 5 clicks and no conversion. What does it mean? Don't spend any money on that keyword or in that ASIN anymore. Or you get 1 click, 1 conversion. Does it mean, okay, spend all your money just in this single ASIN? Somewhere in the middle is a decision. So that's why we typically have 2 weeks of learning curve, and it also depends if you're coming out of the season, if you're coming in season. I would love to give you a clear answer, because I'm German. I like precise answer, but as you're figuring out, it's a little bit more complex. But roughly with 2 weeks, you're on a good side.
Yeah, but we're also in marketing, and marketing is a little bit of a lot of guesstimation in there. So I think it's a bit of a mix of both. Now, you're not only working with Amazon, you're also working with other platforms. How does that work, and what kind of data pull you from there?
So how we build Adspert, we are able to collect with more or less every marketplaces worldwide. So for instance, here in a German region, we have, for instance, eBay. We are right now getting on more or less every Miracle marketplace and Ads marketplace, because Miracle bought us 1.5 years ago. So that was the next expansion phase, and then we going after a lot of new marketplaces. So right now it's Amazon, Walmart, eBay. Here we are also able to optimize Google and Microsoft, but right now we are not taking new clients on. We are full with all our capacity. If you listen to that episode in, 2027, you can definitely find another 50 to 60 marketplaces on our homepage.
Well, that's a huge advantage to have all the data in one place. So with Adspert, you have one point of truth instead of having 50 different marketplaces that you need to manage individually. Can you give me an example of a brand, and you don't need to name the brand that you have worked with and what kind of results they saw?
We have several use cases on our website, but one was specific in my mind. It's a typical case. They have a lot of products. They have really good structure on their accounts when they joined us, and they want to expand in other region, and they did everything manually. And we were able in 2 months to triple their sales just because we were able to increase and decrease also the long-term keywords. And we give these companies a goal, we need your strategy. And they used one of our features that is not used so often. So we are able to optimize over several marketplaces. When it, for instance, comes to Amazon, we're able to optimize Amazon US, Amazon France, Amazon Spain, Amazon Germany. And so what they did is for all their important products, they make one single group for optimization. And then for the rest of the products, they group over several marketplaces or countries together and just give them a performance goal. And they save time, and they took all our possibilities of a machine to really optimize all of them together. And then we pushed, for instance, more money into Spain, less in Italy, because it was better or less sold that product. And we were also quite impressed by the numbers of revenue. And also at the end, we checked how many times they saved, and they saved in 1 week over 200 hours of work. So nearly a month, but a human is not checking every keyword every day, because you can also doing a day changing, you can have top of place, audience, so a lot of possibilities what you can change, and you should give that to a machine. Don't do it by yourself.
I think that's a good example how AI can optimize the data that's just coming in. And if you double or triple your revenue, then obviously you have a luxurious problem with all the fulfillment and everything, but that's a good problem to have. Who's your perfect customer? Are there specific industries or verticals that you work more with than the others?
So one goal when we set up Adspert was we want to give every single e-commerce brand a chance to have a software, because often really good software is for the big brands where they have the money, because it's very complex software. We have 2 tiers we like to work with. One is really an SMB customer who maybe can only spend $200, $100, have 10 products, want to grow their business. They can use a simple version of Adspert where they get a lot of defaults in it and cannot make so much own decisions. And then we have enterprise brands. They have more time. They have individual suggestions they want to place in Adspert. And for them, we have a more educational software where they have more choices in Adspert.
Mm-hmm. We already talked a little bit about this, but I want to understand how the onboarding process works. What steps are involved? How long does it take to get started? Is there any kind of homework to do before you can get started?
So I would say the homework is you need to know what goal should be reached. If I ask somebody, yeah, I want to spend 2,000 euros, it's okay-ish at the beginning, but you need a number behind it. What does it mean? Does it mean your acres could be 80? Your acres should be 20 or 10? So some kind of expectation or number for your business. I think you can expect that from an e-commerce company. And then you can start day and night, because we have an automatic system where you can connect your account. We are an Amazon-approved partner. Typically, we have to wait 20 to 24 hours to get the data in Adspert. And then we have a lot of tutorial videos where people can, in your own time zone, in your own time on the weekend, during the week, learn how Adspert works. And then they can start everything by themselves. They can also request support from us. It depends a little bit who is interested in what kind of service.
Okay. You already mentioned that you have 2 pricing tiers, but you also have like a 30-day trial. Talk me through that. How does that work?
The same. At the beginning, you have a 30 days free trial. If you are in a higher tier, we have the alternative also to an low budget paid trial. If you want to go a little bit deeper in all the setups, for instance, we have also a profit optimization possibility, but we don't offer that in the first months. You can start over, get immediately some videos how you can set up everything by yourself. And then at the end of the 30 days, it stops. So you don't have to set up your credit cards or you accidentally run into an abo for the next or subscription for the next 12 months. We really want to have happy customers. Our customers make an active decision. I like the results. I like what Adspert is doing. Adspert supporting my business. I want to subscribe to Adspert, and then they can choose between a monthly contract or a 12-month contract.
Okay, that's very straightforward. And I like the idea that you just can test this with the trial, no risk involved. And then if you have the feeling it works with your company, then you switch over into a paid plan. Before our coffee break comes to an end today, is there anything you want to share with our listeners that we haven't covered yet?
If I'm so intensive to talk Adspert, let's give me one last shot. Something that is quite unique here at Adspert is we have a scenario feature. So that means before you spend a single dollar, we give you a glance what can you expect. Of course, it works when we start our optimization. We cannot offer a scenario without optimization because it's part of our algorithm. That is one thing. And the other thing is, if you don't use any kind of Claude, ChatGPT, or at all, stop immediately here, go to your mobile phone, go to computer, and start working on that and using it. And if you start with just rewrite your email, just start somewhere. Start very simple. I started very simple as well. My first task was rewrite my email, and I was impressed what I saw. If you're in your free time, ask what can I cook tomorrow? Just start with a simple task and you will see it is worth to and make your work life easier.
I couldn't agree more. AI has taken over so much of my brain that it has become part of my work life on a day-to-day basis, literally. Where can people go and find out more about you guys?
On our website, and we also, because it is really nice, show what you're offering here. You can also find a discount with 20% if you want to try it out, and automatically use the link, and then enjoy Adspert, and maybe you become a happy customer.
I will put the links in the show notes as always, then you're just one click away. Stephanie, thanks so much for giving us an overview on how AI can help you as a seller, making more money out of your business with working less. I hope a lot of people will reach out to you, and I hope to talk to you soon again.
Thanks.